Okay, folks, we are live, and apparently my music is still going.
5, 6, 7,
oh boy, here we go. We are rocking out, kids. You try to play some intro music, and you get some pretty awesome other kids' music on there. Hope everyone's having a good morning. The flicks will be on shortly. They're en route, I believe, to go see Game 1 out in Indy today. So they'll be joining shortly. I wanted to share a couple of things first. As a newbie for the Baltimore Ravens, I had quite an interesting Thursday. Certainly, certainly wish I had C.J. Anderson instead of Justin Forsett on my team to start that off. Luckily, I have him in some other teams, but I was kind of looking at the some of the scoring. I had Carolina's offense plan. I had the punter, or not the punter, but I was playing against Andy Lee, the punter for the Carolina Panthers, and I was I thought it was very interesting to see, how the point scoring works. I really didn't pay attention to offense and punts, so I don't know if anybody noticed this, at least the new guys, or if you didn't know already. I saw Andy Lee punt, and I was like, he got 8 points for punting. I mean, it was a big punt. It was over 50 yards. Then I realized, okay, it's actually average punt. So, he's going to get 8 is probably about as much as he's going to get plus per punt. So I was like, whew, that was interesting. Certainly he was kicking the shit out of the ball, though, so that was pretty awesome. And then on the offensive line, I'm watching that, and everything's going well on the Carolina Panthers offensive line. And then, certainly in the last drive, I think they get sacked Cam Newton a couple times. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like looking at what that is, like, any more sacks, it would have been like -3 per. I would have been down to 0 in a second there. But so that was great. So I was really happy about to see that. I thought I'd start off, looking at all the games. Adam and Brian will join us soon to talk about all the different games. But I thought the first thing I wanted to kind of note, I was kind of looking at all the rosters out there and some players that might get an opportunity today to do really well. So I came up with basically 3 players to watch that probably won't be starting for anybody in the league. Could be, but likely not, based on the fact that they're maybe at best the number 2 wide receiver on their team, or maybe not really sure about a running back timeshare. But first player I wanted to talk about was Eli Rogers from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's playing at Washington. And, I look at that and I think, okay, well, I think Sammy Coates basically has got the backup. Looks like Marcus Wheaton is out this week based on everything I've seen so far. I don't think we'll know for another hour to confirm all of that or longer prior to game time. But I think Eli Rogers could really do well. It's quite an opportunity for him. A lot of good signs coming out, and I think he's got a great chance. Second guy is Tyler Boyd. He's high pick for Cincinnati. Without Eifert playing, at least for the next few weeks, even as a number 2, maybe number 3 wide receiver, he's got a great opportunity. Lots of targets available there to come out of Andy Dalton's hands. And then the third one might be a little bit lesser thought of as well. Kadeem Carey from my Arizona Wildcats, who looked horrible last night against Grambling, but came back and won. Didn't give up any points in the second half. Kadeem Carey, he was so great at Arizona. And I think he's got a real opportunity if he can show himself. It's kind of a timeshare hot hand situation. I think he could really do well for us. So those are my 3. Be curious if you guys want to call in. Email me at uaz@me.com. I can send you the Gmail link to bring you into the live hangout, and we can talk some more. I've got potentially the Carolina Panthers will come on board. Dustin and we'll go from there. All right, right now I'm trying to get located with Adam and folks. So I'm just going to go for a quick pause once we figure that out. Oh, here we go. Okay, so hold on. So let me just, I think looking at the matchups, we talked about CJ, the probably the biggest, certainly to have him on Thursday night and do so well. I mean, that's certainly a great start for many folks in this league, and certainly Cam Newton had his day was fine. Can't complain about him. Probably thought it would be a lot more at the end of the game. Probably thought he'd get more higher, a couple more touchdowns in the second half. Didn't happen. Denver Broncos defense is pretty good. And looks like we got Adam. Can you hear us, Adam? Go ahead and talk. I can't hear you yet, but can you hear me?
Hold on a second.
All right, folks, we'll get there shortly.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's kind of quiet. I'm gonna grab my headphones as well, see if make sure the audio is good on my side as well. 1 second.
Are we live?
We are live.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
We're ready for the big game. Your dad driving?
No, he ain't gonna join today. He's heading home. My friend's driving me.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we had a big party weekend, so we're trying to recuperate.
Yeah, it's watching the college games or.
We had a big race we went to last night, and yeah, we just make a weekend out of it.
Oh, cool. Very good. All right, so
I'm gonna try to do this thing from the vehicle here.
Okay.
Yeah, what were you talking about?
Well, I just went over. I was going over my 3 players that I think might be a bit underrated to watch for today. I pulled out Eli Rogers, Tyler Boyd, and Kadeem Carey. I think they could have a sneaky, really good game today. So I thought I'd throw that out there. I don't know if they'll start for anybody, and I don't know if they should start for anybody based on what we know now. But I think they have a great opportunity ahead of them.
All right. I didn't have time to do any of that. I was just gonna talk about matchups, and if you want to keep talking about that,
Oh no! I think I covered my bases there, and then all I'm doing right now is I'm working on getting. We got Dustin that's gonna come out. He's gonna join us. He's a reoccurring guest for our shows. He's a new owner, newer than me at least, and you should be joining us shortly. Do you want to start talking a little bit about some of the games?
Yeah, let me preview some of the stuff here. That Commission Dallas, Redskins and Dallas game going on. Commission's winning 50-39. Kind of surprised about that. I think he had CJ that went on. That's gonna be a good game. Last year I could have swore you could see everybody starting lineup as soon as the game started. Well, I guess at one end, it seems like
Yeah, yeah, we can't hear you too well. The cell's kind of going up, but yeah, the we can't see the matchups until the until each player's game starts. We can only see matchups as the games start, which is can be a little tough for what we're trying to do here. I think it's a lot of other guys that they should start, guys that they shouldn't, or we obviously know who they probably 80% of what the team's going to do, but I think there's some final decisions people have to make that we just won't be able to see till game time.
right. So I think that's different than last year, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I don't know if there's an advantage. I mean, there's an advantage, I guess, if you can see other teams who they're playing. I mean, I play in Yahoo and I play in ESPN leagues, and I can see who people are starting. I don't think it gives me an advantage, particularly week one, but I don't think they give me an advantage really at all. Everyone just should be putting out their best players. I mean, I'm certainly not going to play a quarterback, play a running back, or not based on what somebody else is playing. I got to get my best guys out there.
right.
Um, I can see where if you've got wide receivers for a team and they've got a running back for a team, and maybe it's an advantage you put your wide receivers out there if the running backs don't score touchdowns. But the game's the game, and
It still plays into strategy. I don't know.
you know.
Last year they would do projected points and all, kind of like the Yahoo. So that was kind of nice once,
Oh, projected points, yeah.
yeah. But I don't see
Yeah,
anything like that.
yeah, I didn't see it either. Maybe maybe it's we'll have to, yeah, I have to look around. Um, I didn't see who they kind of have as like a favorite for each matchup, but no, it's interesting. The the other thing I was talking about was Thursday. CJ Anderson obviously had a huge day, so teams that have him. I know the Redskins, the commish has him, so that was a nice pick. And we got obviously there's a team on the AFC, but he's starting off well. Definitely an advantage if for any team that thought they might have a tough week. We got CJ Anderson. It's going to be That's a good start. So we'll see what happens there. But obviously, this is a very deep league. You got lots of positions, lots of things that can happen. So one player won't make it for him.
Yeah. What about? I mean, do you want to try to project lineups, or you just want to talk about what's happened so far, or what?
Well, I mean, it's up to you. I think for me, I think what's probably most interesting is just are there certain some big name players that maybe teams are need to play, or if there's some guys that might have a tough matchup that maybe they're superstars, but maybe they'll have some a tough day today. I did see interesting news today about Demarius Thomas, coming off the game on Thursday that he had his hip looked at, and thought that was kind of interesting because I've got the number two over there, but it looks like he's going for a second opinion, which probably isn't a good thing. So that's some injury news, real quick for the morning. I was excited because I've got Sanders, so I'm hoping that'll help me out. But obviously, I don't want to see a player get hurt to help me out. But I certainly have a lot of backups on my team, a lot of number twos. So I think I've got a decent chance in the year that that'll improve my chances, in my depth. So
What about Well, they did finally rule Jamal Charles out, I guess. I have Charles and Ware. I was going to bench Charles anyway.
yeah, I saw. I think it was. I want to say it was Cleveland in our league. They have. I want to say they have a couple of backups that'll be starting for at least maybe a week or two, few weeks. We got D'Angelo Williams um, and then you got the Chiefs side as well. So it's I think it's kind of fun to have guys that are going to play, going to start that played well last year. We'll see if D'Angelo can do what he did last year, but um, it should be interesting.
What about Gronk not traveling with the team? That was kind of a surprise. I didn't really hear anything about
Yeah,
that until yesterday.
yeah. You certainly thought he would play. I guess I think it's a hammy. Is it a hammy? Um,
Uh, yeah.
but I certainly thought he'd play. Played through it. Certainly didn't have any sign of that, which isn't a shocker over there in Belichick land that they would be not be as open about it. But yeah, he's officially out. Didn't make the flight. In fact, he didn't make the flight. People knew for like 12 hours, and then they finally said he was out. When really, based on how things work, it was pretty clear that he was out. So it's always funny to see.
You know, I'm really looking at this Oakland New Orleans game. Um, the NFL line has actually favored New Orleans. Last night I looked, I think it was New Orleans favored 2.5 points. Uh, and as shitty as their defense has been, I really think that you know Cooper and Murray could both go off this week.
Yeah, yeah, I'm big on Murray this year. Cooper, I mean, I think he's just going to take it to another level. But Murray's it looks like he's going to get, he's going to get full-time carries, and certainly anyone with a running back like that is going to be happy. We got a lot of timeshares out there right now, so yeah, Murray is kind of top of my list of guys to look for to have a really big year. And really, I've done several drafts, auction, redraft type leagues, and it doesn't seem like anybody's really picking Murray. He's kind of definitely lower on the list. I picked him up in a few leagues, and and felt like he just kind of fell, and so I was kind of surprised about that. But we'll see what happens. But that's kind of where my head is.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to think about him. I didn't draft him in any of my leagues. Um, yeah, I think this is a do or die year for him. So we'll see what happens. What about? I'm trying to look at the games here. What about J.J. Watt playing? You think he's going to play every snap, or you think he's going to be on snap count?
Um, I think though I don't think he's going to be on a snap count necessarily. I think he'll be, he's they're going to be careful with him. I don't think he'll be in there for every play, but I don't think they're going to limit him necessarily. It's going to be probably based on how the game goes. If they, I doubt that they would. I doubt that they would, get down big. I think they've got a pretty good chance in the game. But I think if that happened, they'd probably pull him out for sure. But I think he'll play a good chunk. Certainly be in there for the big plays, the big moments.
I'm really looking at this Tampa Bay Atlanta game. Atlanta's defense has been horrible. What do you think about Jameis Winston this week?
No, I think he's got a great chance. He certainly did well at the end of last year, and I expect him to get better this year. Certainly, more comfortable. I think he's certainly everything I'm reading. He's taken a bigger leadership role. He knew he was the first year guy last year, and you know, kind of just made it wasn't trying to kind of push too much. But this year, he's definitely pushing hard, pushing the players. Taking that leadership role. So I think he's he's in a good spot. Certainly, barring injuries, what have you, he should be a very solid start for anybody today.
Yeah, I like him. I took him in my FanDuel this week.
Oh, okay.
Minnesota, Tennessee. Would you? Let's see. You have AP, don't you?
No, I don't. No,
No. Okay.
I'm a DJ Freeman guy.
Well, what do you think he's going to do without Sean Hill starting for the Vikings this week? What do you think? You think AP's still going to run for 30 touches, or?
Yeah, he's going to run a lot. Hill can throw. He can throw well. I think he'll do a little bit. He'll be very conservative. I think. I wouldn't expect Hill to do more than 200 yards. Probably more of a 150 yard type of game. AP will get all the key touches. they're just going to load him up and let the D do their thing, try to get a win.
Cincinnati at New York Jets. I look forward to seeing how this game goes. It's two smash mouth defenses. What about? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What running back would you start for Cincinnati?
Gosh, that is a tough one. I I would. I have a hunch about Jeremy Hill. I think he's going to have a better year, but that's a real tough timeshare they got there. I'd hate to be owners of either. That's a tough situation. I mean, really, obviously we don't want players to get injured, but if you got one or the other, it's like your best chance is if one or the other gets injured. I mean, Bernard probably isn't the kind of back that they want to have as an everyday back. Even if he was starting, they probably would bring in someone to take some other carries on. But man, I love Bernard. But Hill, I think if he can get things going, I think he'll be the better of the two backs this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think they're going to give Bernard a chance. But either way, I don't think any XFF team has both of those guys on their roster. So, they're probably both going to be starting. I mean, if you have them, you're going to start either one of them.
Yeah.
Cleveland at Philly, return of RG3. What do you think about that?
I want to believe that RG3 can figure it out. May not happen this week. I think Corey Coleman's going to have a good game regardless, even if they get down. The defense for the biggest thing is that the Browns' defense is not looking good. They could make some. I think they could make some big plays and kind of cover up some of that. But I just think that it's going to be tough on RG3 to, they're going to be down in my mind. And while for fantasy it'll be good, but for real life football it's going to be rough. But I do think that he's got a chance to have a good game today. Either way, no matter how the game goes.
All right.
Okay, I think we got a guest here. Oh, no, not quite. Oh, there he is. Dustin from the Carolina Panthers is in the house. Got that? Do I have that right? Carolina, right?
Yes.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
Good, great. Ready for Super Sunday?
Yes.
And one thing I wanted to say real quick while I'm thinking about it, I don't want to forget. I know that today is 9/11, 15 years of 9/11, and certainly it'd be interesting to see all the memorial stuff that happens today, because certainly I think we all remember where we were at that moment when all of that was happening, and obviously rest in peace. Hopefully, families are doing well, but I know that was a tough situation, and something we'll be thinking about today as we obviously we got our big opening day. So I want to just kind of bring that up. I thought that was a huge, obviously something we'll be talking about for years to come, but certainly a tough thing. So we'll just kind of get rolling here. So how you feel about your matchup today?
I feel pretty good. I got off to a good start against Atlanta. Atlanta put up a big goose egg for one of the quarterbacks, so it's always nice to see. I didn't get quite the production I wanted from Demaryius Thomas, especially going into the Saints matchup this week.
Yeah, I know. Like Demaryius got hurt, and even for Emmanuel Sanders, I thought his first shot was pretty decent. Obviously, there's no scoring there, but the second half, was really more about the scoring was more about the running game for the Broncos, and the passing game was just kind of getting them first downs and keeping the chains moving. But That was an interesting game, but certainly both defenses are so tough. You can't really say, which offensive players, where that goes. Certainly, Cam getting a good chunk of points there. I'm sure the owners love that. But
yeah, I think besides Anderson and Cam, I think everybody else is pretty much a disappointment this week.
Yeah, was that champagne?
It was mimosa, but I ran out of orange juice, so a little pre-game. Where I'm heading over to the stadium in about 5 minutes here.
Oh, sweet. What state? I'm not sure where you live.
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay. Oh, that's right.
So your team actually.
That'll be fun. You think Michael Phelps will be doing something there? Probably maybe not this weekend. Maybe a future game.
I mean, since Michael Phelps moved, I think he lives in Florida now or something.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure he's gonna be around as much.
Yeah.
When he was local, I know he was more of a presence, but
yeah.
I think now he's got the little kid, and I think he's. But.
Well, cool. So, what do you think? What were your biggest concerns on your matchup this week?
I think I'm a little bit concerned about Sammy Watkins and Tyrod Taylor today. I'm pretty sure that my running backs with Lamar Miller and Mark Ingram will get it done. I think they'll get the touches, they'll get the work, they should get the points. It's the way that the Watkins started last year, just not doing anything for the first few weeks of the season. Really, they were trying to establish a run way too much. I'm hoping they don't come out flat and just try to pound the ball with McCoy all day. So I'm hoping that they try to challenge that Ravens secondary a little bit. Yeah. So I'll be there in person, kind of rooting for both sides. So it'll be an interesting combo. But I think that's just my concern, just Tyrod staying healthy, seeing how much they utilize Watkins today.
Yeah. Yeah, I got Tyrod as a backup quarterback, and I'm looking for big things because he's a heck of a lot cheaper than Aaron Rodgers. But
yeah, I was trying to make a move this weekend, trying to get a good backup because right now Blaine Gabbert's my only secondary guy.
Yeah.
So if Tyrod goes down, it's quite the drop. But I was unsuccessful so far. I think today will say a lot about how comfortable I am with Tyrod moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think just in general, once we see what players do, we have a lot of ideas what we think they're going to do. And certainly one game doesn't mean that much, but I think that changes a lot of how people think about trading and what have you. If they see a player have a really good game or a really bad game, I think I get a sense there'll be some trade movement this week for people that are trying to either get better or try to get some guys I think are going to have really good years. I think that'll be interesting to see this week for sure.
Yeah, I've got a lot of question marks around some of my backup players, like how Chris Hogan's going to fare in New England, especially with Gronk out today. If he adds some extra value, especially with Demaryius maybe hitting the show for a couple weeks here with the news today. So there's a couple things I'm looking out for that maybe players aren't even starting in my lineup that I'm kind of watching their production. So there's a lot to learn, like you said, and there might be some overreaction, trades next week. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and so take advantage of the overaction theater.
Yeah. Yeah, but overall, I guess I'm feeling comfortable with my matchups. I'm thinking I have Atlanta. A lot of the other owners project them as one of the worst teams. And I guess that's the way they've been finishing the last couple of years. So I'm confident to get the win there. And again, New Orleans is kind of 1-2 in the division. I think I put them at number 5 in my power rankings, and I was number 6. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a big Week 1 matchup for like much of the other teams. They're all playing within their division. So it's a big division starter. I could be 2-0 in the division after today, or after Monday, and that gave me a lot of confidence moving forward that the moves I made this offseason paid off.
Oh yeah. Hey, real quick, I got some breaking news. Mike Clay from ESPN is reporting that Chris Ivory is out today. So TJ Yeldon owners, get your guy out there. You're gonna have a good game this week.
That's a guy I just traded last week.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think I've tried to. I was kind of mentioning earlier before you joined that I got a lot of backups that I'm looking to do well. That get some opportunities this year because I'm not. I've got enough starters, what have you, but I'm hoping I can get some backups to come through and get some opportunities. But certainly not in a timeshare situation, but in a number one situation.
Yeah, I think that's a lot about what my defense is doing this year.
Yeah.
Is about players that were acquired young, unproven, cheap. It was nice to see some of those guys step up in the game. I had Benny for Carolina have an interception.
Oh yeah.
Todd Davis, linebacker, had a ton of tackles. He had 16 and a half points. So it's good to see some of those guys moving into starting roles actually perform well against good competition. So it gave me a lot of confidence too on my defensive side of the ball.
Oh wow.
I'm hoping that continues today with the rest of the games. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm kind of we'll be off here. We'll have about an hour when we're done here to see what's going on in injury land, see where people fall and break. I think I got maybe a couple guys in questionable that I got to make some decisions on putting them in or not. But I think the injury thing and the getting some young guys getting some opportunities is certain that you got to keep an eye on. And it's easy to find out about offensive guys, wide receivers, running backs, what's going on there. But it's the defensive players. It's really tough. Like, trying to figure out, who's going to take a look at depth charts and, there's a couple different sites that do that and they're pretty good at it. But, even if a guy's starting, is he really going to get a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances in the defensive set to make some big plays. So it'll be fun to watch today for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost on the defensive side of the ball. It's almost a snap count situation.
Exactly.
What they're being utilized, how many times they're on the field, against the run, against the pass, their down opportunities, are they in coverage, especially in that linebacker core. So it's invaluable to understand their mix and when they're used, especially against who they're playing against next week. They're playing against, a heavy run team like Tennessee. You don't want to cover linebacker out there in your lineup.
Yeah, and I think, for me, when I kind of look at the defensive players, and I recall, I think you've played fantasy for, 15 plus years, it sounded like, and this is your first IDP league. I believe I recall that. And so, you're really kind of focused on trying to really understand that because you've got the offensive side down pretty well. Obviously, we still got to dig around in the deep league. But, I think for me, I played prior to this, I've done some IDP leagues where maybe I have 4 or 5 defensive players. Certainly don't have as many as we have here. And they're usually, like one defensive lineman, one defensive back, one linebacker, and then like one of whoever you want. And so those are obviously a lot easier. And certainly there's less teams. Usually I'm following a 14 team league, not the 16, which is effectively what we're in right now. So, that's certainly a thing to look at. And you can look at individual plays and players and say, well, yeah, if they get an interception return for a touchdown, you can't just look at points. You got to look at what they did because you can't expect them to score a touchdown every week. You could have a guy that scores a touchdown, maybe sacks a couple, gets a couple of sacks. But if he's not getting the tackles or if he's not really getting the, like you said, snap counts and what have you, you're really going to, go in depth on those numbers. And that's something I'll be, working through as we get through the games today and figuring out what my lineup will look like next week.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was referring to, and that's a good approach to have. I think the one disadvantage I have this week, and a lot of the weeks, is going to the actual Ravens games. Is it takes away my opportunity to sit here and watch Red Zone, watch every single game, watch every player, and actually see the usage for myself. So it's hard to get the analytics and analysis on some of these defensive players like we get on the offensive side because there's really not as much of a demand for it. And so, I mean, there may be 10 articles about Sammy Watkins, post game today about how he performed and what he did and where he was. And there may be 1 or 0 about, Telvin Smith. So it's kind of like passing the eye test almost, but because you're not getting all that detail provided to you like you are on the opposite side of the ball.
Yeah, no,
Give me some more.
no, agreed. We got some, okay. So we lost?
Yeah, how are you?
Sorry?
Go ahead. I was going to say, how are you doing with your matchups?
Well,
You feeling confident?
I feel good. I mean, I think I'm playing the Browns this week and the Bengals. The Browns had had some good games. I mean, I think I was kind of talking earlier about the punting points, which scared me when like Andy Lee had one punt and had like 8 points. I'm like, what? Like, okay, it's an average, so it's kind of like they get their first punt, and then it's like the average. So you're not going to see once you get after their first punt, you're not going to see it move a lot unless they had a really bad punt. But so that was kind of interesting. I think for me, the Browns is definitely tougher. He had some players had some pretty good games. I have Emmanuel Sanders who he had like 12.9 points, and my offensive my defensive guy Coleman, he had like 5.5 points, which I was expecting more. So I'm a little down on a at least one situation, but I think overall they weren't my top offensive players, my top defensive players necessarily. So I've got some room to make up, I think, but I think I've got a good opportunity. I'm certainly expecting to be 2-0, but obviously when you got Aaron Rodgers still to play and some players like that, I've always got a chance.
Yeah, I think one of the things I noticed is the league is pretty heavy towards running backs and quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I think Tyrod missed some games last year, and he still had 440 points or something.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm in a good situation with the quarterback. I think, and so Rodgers should definitely carry the load there with Jordy Nelson being back and healthy. I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm a Packer fan first and foremost. So I think he definitely can't hurt you, and he's in your lineup.
Yeah. So I made a trade. I earlier, before the season, actually before the draft, I made a trade where I ended up trading Head Bortles as my backup, and I had Russell Wilson as my starter. And I traded Bortles and some other folks, and ended up getting Rodgers. And so of the two, I decided to keep Rodgers and trade Wilson, mainly because I think Rodgers will give me some consistent points across the board, and obviously have big games, but he'll be a lot more consistent. Where I think Russell Wilson will be kind of mixed, and might be wrong, but I think they're both pretty even. I think from a fantasy perspective, and so that brought me some some other players that I needed on my team to provide some depth, certainly. But if Wilson has a ridiculously better year than Rodgers, I'll certainly be looking back on that and fresh. But we'll see where that goes. But I'm definitely all in on Rodgers this year. I think last year was an aberration. And even then, he had a pretty good year, fantasy points wise. I think that he could do tons better. So definitely looking to see how he is this year. But yeah, having Nelson back is key. Eddie Lacy's he's going to be a much better spot this year. Looks to be in better shape, and certainly they seem to be focused on making sure they get him going. So we'll see how it all pans out. But that's one of my big things. Certainly, I'm looking at today.
Yeah, I think you hit on some good points there. I think the matchup against Jacksonville is going to be interesting today. That's one of those situations where I think last year a lot of fantasy production came off both teams. Jacksonville with Hearns and Robinson, and now Yeldon maybe seems to be in the mix. And then obviously with Green Bay with Cobb and Nelson and Lacy. And then the defensive side of the ball, there's a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball. Clay Matthews, Telvin Smith, a couple of strong safeties, Morgan for Green Bay. So it should be a great game to watch fantasy-wise on both sides. So I guess good luck to you on the Rodgers end because obviously I'm rooting for the Packers. So and I have stock in Rodgers in other dynasty leagues. So But thanks for having me. I got to go. She's giving me the eyes.
Absolutely. Great. All right. Well, have a great game and enjoy the. That's awesome to be able to go to the game too. So have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Right.
You too. Good luck.
Dustin, take care.
Yeah, bye.
All right, folks. So it's just me. We lost Adam. His phone is not doing so well. Doesn't like the video chat for too long. So we'll go a few more minutes, and then we'll cut a little bit short, probably be a 45-minute today, and then we'll circle back and we'll take the show to the next level next week. Look forward to that. I think it'll be fun to see all the games that happened today and see where people are at. I think right now I was going to add a couple of updates. I saw real quick, mentioned earlier on a couple of different breaking news. Did find out that the Ravens have inactivated Jarius Allen, Buck Allen, who generally is considered to be their passing running back. And so there's some talk on ESPN right now. Something the stat was saying that Forset's probably going to have a much larger role today than maybe we previously expected. He's on my team. I don't plan on starting him, but hopefully I've got the right guy starting today. So that should be very interesting. And I think, once 9 o'clock hits, we'll start to hear some other news out there. But for now, I'm going to sign off, hoping the Niners do well today. Bear down if you're a Wildcat fan. We pulled it out last night for our backup quarterback. And good luck to everybody in the league today. It should be exciting. Certainly we got 2 games tomorrow as well, so it'll be a real fun couple of days. I'll be out on the message board on the chat site, chatting things up. So join me if you can. But for now, peace out. Take care, guys. See you.